Hey everyone, welcome back to OCD Recovery's YouTube video. This is the first video of the new year for me. First of all, before we get started, thank you for all the support over the years. Thank you for all the comments on the Facebook group, the TikTok, the Instagrams, all the people, the 12, 13, 1,400 people that are in the WhatsApp groups, the thousands of people I've worked with in coaching, in webinar services, and that's just from my end. But I know the whole team appreciates all the support as we bring out the proper way to recover from chronic severe OCD and anxiety-based disorders. For too long, people have been stuck in silence, not knowing what to do, not being taken seriously because it's too hard to understand, But the best way to look at it is, imagine you show up to Mount Everest and the person that comes to Mount Everest to guide you, and you ask them, what's your experience? And they say, I read a really good textbook one time in college on hiking, and you have no experience. And these people are very well-intentioned, but the problem is, unless you've had this disorder, unless you've lived it day in, day out, the chance of you giving effective, nuanced information in a coaching perspective, or if you're working in a therapy setting, whatever it may be, the chances are going to be very slim to none. That's going to be substantial. It's just the reality, just the way it is. No one wants to hear it, but it's got to be said. So thank you again for all the help. So in this video, I want to talk about the things that you'll probably do wrong and the things that are important when looking at how do I make this year the best year for my recovery process. The first thing that we want to do is look at this as a 1 year progress, an entire year time frame. What can I do this year? Not what can I do in 30 days? What can I do in 90 days? Yes, there's things that matter quarterly or weekly in a day-to-day basis. But when we're looking for long-term progress, we want to take a long-term approach. The other thing that you want to do, in my opinion, it's important, is take a look. Now, again, everyone's going to be a little bit different with this. If you're extremely compulsive, if you take too many notes, if you're too much tracking, then maybe you don't want to do this. But for the most people, they more than likely want to have something to where they're aware of what they're doing. So for me, I have a little journal I use. I write in a couple times a week. If you're spending 30, 40, 50 minutes a day, hour, 2 hours journaling, that's more than likely not good. But 5 minutes every other day, when you're checking in like, hey, have I done my exposures this week? Hey, I did my exposures. What was the belief system behind that exposure? So you could throw your disputing in there with it. And you want to look at your behaviors over a long period of time. A lot of the behaviors that kept me stuck, I've been doing those behaviors for an extended period of time. So in order to get better, I had to take the long-term approach. None of the habits that I've changed in my life, like take cutting adult websites for an example, it's just an easy example that many people can relate to, OCD or not. I watched adult websites from 15 on a daily basis to 32. So almost 20 years. So I would say January 21 is 3 years no porn for me. So coming up here in 20 days from now, it took me about 12 to 18 months to feel very recovered from that problem in my life. I still had a lot of withdrawal symptoms 6 months then from that. I'm a human being, so it's not that you get to a place when you're 10 years, no adult websites, that you're just like this blissful celibate human. If you choose to be celibate, that's your choice, of course, but it's not really that way. You're a human. You're more than likely going to think sexually about people. You're going to think sexually about people at the gym, about your friends' wives or husbands, about your buddy's mom or dad. I mean, this stuff is going to happen in life. And the more that you don't want that to happen, the more it's going to be a problem. So I knew I had to take that long-term approach. Now, the things that people do wrong when they're looking at, how do I approach my goals for the new year? Where do people go wrong? So it's basically the opposite of everything I said. These are all things that I did really badly. So taking a very short-term perspective. So I want to change this habit. I'm going to do it in 2 months. I had someone say this to me in a phone call earlier. They said something on the lines of, I'm going to get over this in 2 months. I just said, no, you're not. You're just not. It's important to say that. That's the reality. Never seen the case. Good luck, but it's not going to happen. And we have to be realistic about that. The second thing that people get wrong is January 1 is no different than July 16th or March 12th or February 6th. There's just another day of the year. So you can get really hyped up with motivation and inspiration. But when that fades, what actually remains is your willpower, your consistency, your persistence to do the things that have to get done. Like I say, the one thing that all of you really want to work on is that gap of decreasing from when you have a task that you have to do, then the meter starts of procrastination, and then cut that off. I was watching a couple of the people talk on the New Year's Eve thing, and again, this is just what humans do, and they were asking this girl, what goals do you want to have? And they said, what everyone says, I want to work on decreasing procrastination. Is that person, do I have any idea who this person is? No. Would I bet all my money that they're not going to change their procrastination habits? Absolutely. I don't have to know anything about them. I just have to know about probabilities and human nature. It's like in the great movie Rounders, where Matt Damon said, I can win card games without even looking at the cards, because I can look at probabilities and statistics of the facial expressions that they make. The same thing goes when you work with human psychology and the mind for long enough and you had severe OCD yourself, you know when people are really more than likely not going to do what they say they're going to do. And I was that person. I did it for the majority of my life. Only very recently have I gotten good at consistency and persistence. So you don't want to take that short-term approach. The last thing I want to talk about, the mistakes that people make when it comes to New Year's resolutions or goals, is that they, the thought just slipped my mind. Oh, no. Oh, too much analysis. So analysis is great. Writing things down is amazing. But eventually it comes down to, these are a couple things I want to work on. Now let's get them done. And then going from there. You don't have to take a lot of notes. You don't have to be really big on it. And then going forward. So not a long video today. Just talking about 3 of the pros, 3 of the cons. Let me know what you think about this. A lot of great content to come. I think sometime in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to do another really big sensory motor review, because it's been a while. I like to do those big reviews at least once a month or once every other 3 weeks or something like that. But if you have any recommendations for the new year, please let me know. Hope to hear from you soon. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.